What up guys, how you guys doing? I'm Thales and we're back with another how to slice. In today's how to slice video, we're going to be checking out some awesome mecha hamsters. So let's go to the video. So this is the Unicornbot. As you can see, this is a really nice model to print, and in this video, we're going to be checking out the best print settings to print it. So let's go. So before we start, let's analyze this model. Right here, we got the body of the unicorn's head, and the legs, and the creepy hamsters right here. They're not creepy, they're just a little bit angry. But let's go. So over here in print settings, we're going to be printing this model at 0.2 millimeter layer height. This way, we're going to get a good quality print and a fast print speed. So this is perfect. We're not going to be reducing this layer so it doesn't take too much time to print. Going over to vertical shells, we're going to be printing at 3, just so we can get a really rigid model. Going over to infill, we're going to be increasing to 10% just so we can get a dense model. And if you give to a kid, it's not gonna, if it throws it in the wall, it's not gonna break. So this is great. Going over to fill pattern, we're going to be printing at gyroid in fill pattern because it prints in waves, so your printer never goes on a straight line. This reduces the chance of your print failing while printing the infill. So this is perfect. Going over to skirt and brim, this model does not need any brim. Brim is a really nice feature to increase the surface of contact to the build plate. Right here, most of the models, they got a good and solid contact to the build plate, so we do not need to add any brim. But if you have some bad adhesion issues, I do recommend always cleaning your build plate with some isopropyl alcohol or detergent, just so you can remove all of the dust and oils that are from your fingers that are on the build plate, because that impacts a lot the bed adhesion. This way, we're going to get a really clean surface to print on. So right here, we're not going to be adding any brim. Going over to support material, we're going to be generating support material. As you can see right here on these connections, we really need some support material to hold. In this part, we do not need any support material because this is concave. This is a good overhang that your printer can print. And as this model, we can be adding support. This model is not going to show all the time. It's not going to be able to see just if you remove the unicorn's head. So it's a part that you could be printing without any support. But for safety, we're going to be adding a little bit of support. Right here, we can be adding a little bit of support too, just so the bridge right here. So this is a bridge. It does not have any support contact right here to the build plate. So if you try to print this, you will be able to print. But as this is a connection, we're going to be adding just a little bit of support just to guarantee. Because as we're going to be painting on support, we can go ahead and already add some a bit more to other parts. So we're not going to be auto-generating. So if you go right here, this is to auto-generate support material, but it adds support to unnecessary parts. So this way, we're going to be adding some support. So going over right here, we're going to be adding some paint on support. So let's start with this part right here. So by going over here to highlight by overhang, we can be increasing it to around 30 degrees. So you can, so it's gonna paint in blue the areas that have critical overhangs. So this part, as I have shown you, really needs some support. So we can add a little bit of support. For these parts that are curved, it's better to add some organic support. So is the tree support. It builds branches, so it supports a lot while printing. So for this part that actually your printer cannot print on mid-air, so we add a little bit of support. I'm just going to be adding a little bit of support right here too, just to make sure we get a good quality print. This is a quite steep overhang, so I'm going to be adding right here on the tail, so we can increase the brush size, so we can paint faster and bigger parts. So I'm just going to be adding a little bit of support right here to hold a lot. So this part you do not need to to paint on support because this is an overhang that your printer can print. So you do not need to worry with that at all. So this is great. We have painted on support on the assembly parts and detail. Let's go to the other parts. Let's go back. So right here on the hamster, just select it. Let's go on to paint on support. Now we can be painting. Let's say you put a little bit of support right here and you messed that up. You can just select Shift and erase. So hold Shift and then you can be painting on top. So it's going to erase the part. You can be right here. You can be painting on just this flat part inside. You do not have to paint these sides right here because they are at an overhang that your printer can print. So this is great. This is enough right here. His part of the chin right here, your printer can print. So you do not need to worry with that at all. Right here, let's go to the head. As you can see, this angle right here, it's at a really steep angle. So as you can see, we're gonna have to be adding a little bit of support to this under part. So this way, this looks incredible. We added a little bit of support right here, and let's add just a little bit of support to this inside part, because if you remove, we're just gonna get a good quality print inside. It's not necessary, but this is optional if your printers can't do too many some overhangs, critical overhangs. I would recommend just to get this inside part without any failure, some inconsistencies, so we can be doing that. Right here, this is a little bit critical. So as you can see on this part, this is a connector. So this is going to connect to the body. So we need to guarantee that it prints perfectly. We do not need to put any support right here. So if you add support, sometimes it's going to mess a little bit of the assemble. So it's going to have some inconsistencies, and it's not going to make sure that we got a good attachment. So what you can be doing is painting a little bit of support right here just to help a little bit with this steep overhang, but you do not need to cover all of these assemblies with support. Sometimes it can lead to some strong, and sometimes you're gonna have to sand a little bit to this part attach after you have removed all of the support. So it would be needing a little bit of sanding. So this is perfect. We have added some support to the unicorn right here. So added a little bit to the chin, this part to the connectors and tail. So the tail is not supported, is levitating, and the hamsters right here, and a little bit on the connection. So this is quite nice. So let's change the configurations to this supports that we have painted. So we do not need to auto generate support because we have painted on support. So we do not need this. To select this, we're going to be generating support material, not auto generated though. Over here on style, we're going to just select organic because this model got a lot of curvatures, and a organic type support is going to help a lot. Over here on top interference layers, you can be reducing to 2 just so it's easier to remove. But feel free to choose what's best and you find best. If you have a good standard or a good configurations for supports that you have found that you find great and you're stable with it, just go ahead and print it and select that. So right here on speed, we do not need to reduce any of the speed, especially on Babel printers, because this model can be printing with the standard print speed. If you want to go ahead, you can be changing, so reducing a little bit on small perimeters, so reducing a little bit. Feel free to do some changes, but I do not recommend printing this model too fast, because sometimes it's better to print one time slowly than printing 3 times with trying to print really fast and it failing multiple times. So print it really slowly. Going over right here to the first layer speed, I do recommend a low and really slow print for the first layer, because the first layer is the most important layer. All of the other layers are going to go on top of this one, so make sure you got a good and solid first layer. So this is perfect. Now let's slice and take a look. So we have slice, and as you can see, it looks quite nice. We have added some custom on support right here. So as you can see, it's going to take 20 hours and 43 minutes to print. Let's go down the layers and you'll see it's going to print perfectly fine. So going over, you'll see that it adds a little bit of support to the assembly part right here on the horse's head. In this interior part, it's not too necessary, but in the chin, it's really recommended right here on the tail, because it's being printed, as you can see, in thin air, so it needs some support to print it. So it looks, and it's going to turn into a really nice model, especially right here. It's really nice to add some support to this part, this assembly part. It really needs support to hold really well. So this is quite nice. Grab a really nice filament that you have laying around and print this model. So the models are ready to print. Make sure you check out stlflix.com for more models like this one, and I'll see you in another one.
I hope you guys enjoy it. Those slicing videos are an initiative from STL Academy, which is the educational project from STLFlix. So if you guys want to learn more about 3D printing, you could check our description and look at STL Academy courses. And don't forget, see you guys at the next slicing.